Hello, my crafty friends. It's Maria Russell here with you today, and I am back with another Halloween card for Trinity Stamps. I am going to use this cute stamp set called Fang-tastic Friends, and this is a small stamp set, but it features two really cute bats with a couple of sentiments. And I am also going to use this October Night Sky stencil, which I already featured last week, but this time I am going to show you how I created this nice sunset Halloween sky. I am also going to use this slimline die set by Trinity to create my scene. First, I have this panel of Bristol smooth white cardstock, and I am going to use a couple of Distress Oxide inks. And to create this orangey moon, I'm going to combine antique linen and scattered straw. I'm putting on a very light pressure for antique linen first, and then I'm going to add the orangey color with scattered straw. So I'm going to use the positive piece and use some painter's tape to just hold them down, and now I'm going to create the night sky. I'm using wilted violet here to surround a purpley color on the moon, and then I'm going to use chipped sapphire to make it more purple because the wilted violet is a bit too bright for me, so I'm adding chipped sapphire to just make it darker a little bit. And for the bottom, since this is sort of like a sunset sort of sky evening twilight thing, I am actually going to combine the fossilized amber first, and I'm also putting a light pressure on this color, and then to add the orangey sky, I'm using the carved pumpkin. And then I'm going to use a stencil from my stash for the clouds because to make it look more realistic, we need a little bit more clouds here. So I just used a stencil from my stash, and then I just go back and forth between the colors to create the clouds in the sky. Next, I'm going to take off the mask and then use a stencil B to create the clouds that covers the moon a little bit. And I'm going to use shaded lilac to lightly put some color on the moon. And first I'm using this mini ink blending tool, and I noticed that I actually bent my stencil. So after this, I am going to just use the mini sponge daubers when it's time for me to add the spooky trees because I didn't want to bend the stencil further. The stencil is very intricate, so you have to be careful when you're adding the colors, and the mini sponge dauber is perfect for this task. I'm just doing a pouncing motion to add the color and also kind of rubbing it a little bit just to add more color and make it deeper black. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side to create the other spooky tree. And here is what it looks like once I was done with the stenciling, and I really love how that turned out. Next, I stamped and colored the cute bats already from the Fangtastic stamp set. But I decided that I didn't want the outline, so I used my precision snips to fussy cut the bats. And now what I'm doing is I'm going to put this focal panel on my stamping tool again and stamp the bats. Since I'm not very good at masking the bats, I decided to just do it this way, so that I kind of cheated a little bit. And now I'm using my Memento Tuxedo black ink to just line the outside so it doesn't have the white edges. And then I'm going to adhere those bats with liquid glue on top of what I have already stamped. And now, since I've kind of messed up my background a little bit, I'm going to use that grass border to create the grass and put this thing back inside my stamping tool to line them up perfectly. And now I am ready to adhere the bats, and I'm just using some liquid glue, making sure that all the edges have glue so that when I adhere them on where I stamped them before, it looks like it's perfectly adhered on the focal panel. And now I'm also going to put this same focal panel inside my stamping tool and add the sentiment, "Have a Fangtastic Halloween." I'm going to put the focal panel back in my stamping tool and stamp the sentiment so that they are perfectly lined up. And then I'm going to adhere this on an A2 size card base, a side fold white card base, and that finishes my card. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful. If you have any questions, please leave me a comment down below. And here's the other card that I created using the same stencil. I hope you enjoyed this video and liked the card, and if you did, I would be so grateful if you can kindly give this video a thumbs up. Thank you again for stopping by, and happy crafting!